Coming up, shocking allegations of abuse, threats, and coercion. Music mogul Sean Diddy Combs stands accused of using his power to manipulate and exploit victims to satisfy his own desires. The once untouchable icon's downfall may just be beginning, as the recent indictment appears to be only the tip of the iceberg. From a life of luxury to a New York jail cell, insiders from Diddy's inner circle are reportedly turning against him. In a shocking turn of events, one of the biggest names in the music industry is now behind bars. From the past few weeks, Diddy, the billionaire U.S. rapper and entertainment mogul, has traded his lavish lifestyle for a New York jail cell. He's now at the center of explosive charges involving sex trafficking and racketeering.
The indictment alleges that between at least 2008 and the present, Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires, protect his reputation, and conceal his conduct.
A recently unsealed federal indictment uncovers disturbing details of so-called freak-offs, violent and brutal sex parties that he's accused of organizing and hosting. Victims were reportedly left battered, bruised, and traumatized. Earlier this year, armed raids on Combs' sprawling Miami and Los Angeles mansions set off alarms, not just for the luxury they uncovered, but for the dark secrets hidden beneath the surface. From the moment authorities stepped inside, they knew this was far from an ordinary investigation. The scale of what they found was shocking, and it became clear that it would take months, at least 6, to piece together the evidence needed for an arrest. This wasn't just about wealth or power. It was about a hidden world of corruption that could topple one of music's most iconic figures. The deeper investigators dug, the more they realized this case would shake the very core of his empire and the industry itself.
It was very clear that a lot of the information that they got was from digital evidence that was taken from the raid.
A lot of the stuff reading in this pretty heinous indictment could be on video as proof.
I feel a good 80 to 90% of what we see in the indictment is from video evidence, because it takes time. It takes months to go through that evidence to identify who some of these victims and witnesses are, to reach out to them, to then hope that they will be willing to testify.
Explosive and graphic allegations against Combs are detailed in a chilling 14-page indictment, revealing a dark world of power and abuse. The indictment accuses him of trafficking women and male sex workers for disturbing freak-offs, drug-fueled, depraved sex parties staged for his own twisted pleasure. The violence was so extreme that some victims reportedly needed IV drips to recover from the brutality. Even more disturbing, prosecutors claim that Combs filmed these horrifying encounters, using the footage as leverage to control and silence his victims. And just when it seems like the story couldn't get darker, raids on his properties unearthed a shocking cache: firearms, narcotics, and over 1,000 bottles of lubricant, evidence that hints at the scale and depravity of his secret life. The revelations could shake the music world to its core, as one of its most powerful icons faces the collapse of his empire.
I believe the indictment is the tip of the iceberg.
That's a scary thought, isn't it?
It's an incredibly scary thought. I mean, there's countless victims who we likely won't know the identities of. But my hope is that they get some sense of justice from this.
For years, alleged victims cried out, but justice seemed distant, like an impossible dream. Then came the tipping point, a lawsuit from Diddy's former girlfriend, Cassie Ventura, and the proof everyone was waiting for, a leaked 2016 video showing Diddy's brutal assault on her. The silence shattered. Now people are finally starting to believe the voices that were ignored for so long. Former CIA officer Tracy Walder believes that the downfall of his empire won't come from outside pressure, but from within.
I think that that is for a reason, because they are cutting deals with them to testify against Diddy.
So people in Diddy's inner circle could be turning against him.
I think that they may turn against him. It depends on what is being offered to them. Whether the opportunity to not serve time in jail, I don't know where they're going with that, because it obviously depends on what their involvement was in these freak-offs, in trafficking individuals across state lines, whether or not the government is willing to accept a plea deal from them.